Everybody has an opinion about what you have going on in your life right now. I mean, family members, friends, and even people you haven't spoken to in years volunteer their information to you. Now, some of us are just more outspoken than others, but when it comes to the speaking business, it can be both rewarding and equally brutal. You want people to accept you and your message, but we almost always are surprised and in some cases a little hurt when we receive negative feedback. Now, there's a difference between constructive criticism and negative feedback. On one hand, a person is telling you the truth and hoping you can improve. On the other hand, a person can come off as closed-minded and honestly sounding like a pure hater. But I'm here to say, no matter positive or negative, you should embrace it all. But have you ever been taken aback by some of the feedback you receive? Before I ask that, it's probably best if I ask, do you seek out feedback? If you do, then great. If you don't, then start doing so. It's always good to get positive feedback. It can be an ego boost, a confidence builder, and overall a confirmation that your work is wanted. But for all the great feedback you may receive, you aren't above criticism and negativity that's bound to come. I personally embrace it. I expect it, and in fact, I never really cared about what I did well. Because for the most part, I can see what I do well when I'm speaking right there in the moment. I'm reading body language and I'm checking physical responses. But it's the improvements that I need to make. That's what I need to be pointing out to me. In the moment, I'm not so conscious of the things I need to improve on. Most of us aren't. So we can all use help in that area, even if it comes in the form of negativity. The it's them not me attitude is one of the worst stances you can take as a speaker or as really anything in general. It's an excuse that you can use for feedback that you don't necessarily agree with, but you have to question if that really helps you in the long run. You can use this excuse so much that you could be in total denial when it comes to your feedback on your work in general. Personally, I find it funny whenever I receive negative feedback because I look at it as if the person I'm receiving this feedback from is keeping it real with me and they trust me enough to be brutally honest, whether I like it or not. In a day and age where so many people mask their feelings and try to protect the feelings of others, almost to a person's detriment, you have to listen when people keep it real with you. When someone keeps it real with you about your craft, especially when it comes to public speaking, you should listen. Often it will be hard to take in, especially when you're starting out and still learning. But what feels like harsh criticisms right now can actually push you into further development in the future. At some point, you are bound to receive negative feedback about one of your talks, and it could come at the worst possible time. Maybe it was the message, maybe it was the delivery, maybe it's what you wore. It could literally be anything. How will you react? I'm telling you right now, you shouldn't ignore it. Yes, a lot of it may seem overboard and even dramatic, but there's usually some negative feedback that you could really learn from if you choose to be open-minded about it. You can't run away from it, and it will always seem like there's one person out there who wants to ruin your day. It all goes back to something I say all the time. You can't and you won't make everyone happy. What one person likes, the very next person may dislike. You can't change that. But what you can do is look at all the improvements suggested to you, both good and bad, and decide what you want to improve on. If you found this tip useful, please like it and share it. Comment on it as well and let me know what you think. Until next Monday, my name is Julian Leonard and this tip was brought to you by the J Leonard Group.